talked to a guy the other day that was Felton Jarvis's right-hand man.
What?
And I can't think of his name. Yes, Randy Colors. And I'm going to get him on camera. You know, he agreed when I got back that he would do an interview for me. And, but we were talking about things like, see, that's the inside of that mall. So that mall is underground. So like those are over the top of the mall. Okay. But Randy, I didn't realize they were on this side of the street. We were talking about, there's a music store. Yeah.
You want to check it out?
You can. We were talking about the PA that they were using. And he was saying that the PAs in coliseums like that, as we know it, are relatively new. Mm-hmm. That Elvis, more or less, his tour created the need for that. Yeah. And that he said that the lift points, all of the hang points where they fly the stuff, was marked by Disney. They would go in and fly stuff for like Disney on Ice when they were doing shows and taking them. So they established all the hang points, and for Elvis, for his stuff, it was Disney. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd never heard that before. I thought it was an interesting little tidbit.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, when you talk to the real people, that you know, he said that Felton was real sick, and his last 2 years, he had,
that too. Yeah.
You know, he had kidney issues.
Yeah.
And so Randy was the tour manager in 76, 77.
He was the tour manager?
Yep, 76, 77, in place of Felton. Now Felton was still there because he said Elvis wanted Felton there. He liked it, Felton, and he wanted him there, but he was in bad health, so he would show up and be behind the board during the show, but he didn't come to set up or manage the tour at all.
Well, already in
Man, they got some great guitars here. This is the real deal. Gibson's about to go out of business, though.
Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry to hear.
Yep, that's going to happen. Yep, the White Falcon.
As early as 72, Felton was pretty sick because he didn't produce Burning Love. That was already tough, basically, because by the time the kidney was so bad, the kidney issue, that you know, Felton, he couldn't do the recording. And also...
now, is Felton's name on it as the producer?
Yes.
But Ronnie is really who ran the session.
He did the sessions. That's what he
Randy
told me.
Colors, by the way, was in that session that Elvis supposedly showed up for or didn't show up for.
Yeah.
He was in that session, and I asked him about the pizza box session.
Yeah, the pizza box session.
Jerry Chef says he knocked the pizza box off. Nobody else says that. Mm-hmm. So is that true or not true?
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
I think, you know...
Why would Jerry say that if it didn't happen?
That's true.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think Jerry's telling the truth.
Yeah.
The thing with Elvis was, I think at that point, he didn't want to record anymore. I think he felt a bit, you know, tired at that point of the business, maybe. You know, they had a lot of difficulty recording him. So he saw a way out, he saw an excuse, and maybe he felt that his voice was not at its best. A lot of singers, they worry about that. Because they want, when they record, they want to be at their best.
Yeah.
And actually, in early 77, Elvis had a voice problem, and you can hear it at some of the concerts in February 77, where his voice is a little rough.
Yeah.
So I think that's a natural explanation.
So he came in and did that to have a reason to be mad and leave.
To be mad and leave.
Yeah. And just because other people didn't see it didn't mean it didn't happen.
No, that's right.
You know, I think Jerry's a reliable
I think it's
source.
true. I think he was in that studio and he saw it, and he didn't like what he saw, combined with the fact that he wasn't at his best.
Yeah.
And like I said, singers, they worry about that.
Yeah.
So he just went away.
Yeah.
And then they had this excuse that, you know, also that he had a row with his girlfriend at the time, Ginger Alden.
Yeah.
And whether that's true or not, it's hard to say. But I think basically Elvis wasn't up for it.
Yeah.
In fact, the story was that they had so much difficulty recording Elvis, they had a ready master for a song called There's a Fire Down Below, written by Jerry Chef. And Felton Jarvis, he brought it along on tour because he
Hoping
thought
he could get it.
he could somehow coax Elvis into recording a
Well, the
vocal
whole Moody
track.
Blue album was more or less done like that.
It was a
Yeah.
Hodgepodge thing,
Yeah.
and it's kind of sad when you think about it.
Yeah.
Felton was so desperate that they went on tour in April, and he recorded concerts just to find something that they could use. You know, he was hoping that one night Elvis would do an unusual song or something that they could use.
Yeah.
And that's what happened with Unchained Melody. And when you listen to the rough master, it's a great performance, but it's not something that you would use on a record. But you know, Felton Jarvis really went to town on that one and added the strings and everything, and
Yeah.
added it.
And Elvis
made
played
it
the
into
piano in that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
That's live on stage.
that was live on stage in Ann Arbor, Michigan,
Wow.
in April. And actually, even then, they didn't have enough for the Moody Blue album. So they had to use Let Me Be There from the Memphis concert from '74 to complete it because they didn't have enough songs.
He was struggling trying to make it happen.
They didn't have enough material.
Amazing. So these are 1800
Paisley, tell her.
American. That's euros, $12,999. But now it had to be shipped from there to here, and you know there's a lot of additional costs in it.
And this is a beautiful piece.
It is. That's not my taste, but I have one of these. I have that exact color. I have that one. I have that one. Both American. The one that I have like that's got the Nashville pickup in it, and it's a B-bender.
Oh wow!
So I've got a Sunburst B-bender like that. And
How many guitars do you have?
I don't know. I got a lot.
A bunch.
Yeah, my main guitar is this. This
Yeah.
Stratocaster, American, what they call American Plus Deluxe. It's got things like the tuning pegs like this. You stick the string through and you tighten the knob up and you can clip them off. You don't even have to wrap them. And it has a roller nut here. It's got machine. It's got a lot of extras on it.
Right.
I bought it a long time ago too. Most of my guitars I've had a long time. That bass I bought back before cell phones. I used a beeper to buy that bass, the one I'm gonna play on this tour.
Right. Cool. It's gonna be exciting.
I'm excited about it.
Well, I'm excited about it because I think you know.
Well, you get to
It's
play
like
with people
I
from
told
all
you-
over the world, you know. I have one of these too.
A Flying V? Oh, these?
Yes. 6120 Gretsch. Now mine doesn't have the open F holes.
Oh.
Mine has the painted on F holes.
When we see those, most Europeans associated with, you know, guys like Eddie Coburn,
And mine is a Chet Atkins model.
Chet
Yeah.
Atkins model. Yeah.
Mine's just like this. Does it have the thing on the back? No. On the back, it has a pad about that big around that snaps on. So the electronics, there's a trap door back there with it's got a pad snapped over it. All these are open F holes, so they wouldn't have it. Eddie Van Halen, look,
Eddie Van Halen, yeah.
look, 5150s. Yeah, you can tell music is a big deal here.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Eddie Cochran, one thing that he taught a lot of musicians in Europe was this thing about, was it the third or the fourth unwound string? And that's how he got that kind of, you know, that twangy guitar sound. And at the time in Europe, we didn't know how to record rock and roll. The first European rock and roll records were horrible, but Eddie Cochran, he came to England in 1960, hang out with a lot of musicians, did these great concerts. And well, we haven't looked back since. I mean, he was a huge influence on bands like The Who and the Stones.
Did you say The Woo?
Yeah, The Who. Yeah.
I've not heard of a band called The Woo.
The Who. Oh, yeah. Well, they're a very influential band. Yeah.
Now I know Adam The Woo.
Yeah.
It's a guy named Adam The Woo.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a different. But Eddie, he influenced a lot of musicians in Europe, and you know, he was one of those rock and roll guys that's basically forgotten today.
Yeah.
But he. at the
Very
time-
influential though.
At the time, he could do it all. I mean, you had Elvis, but Eddie Cochran, he was, before he became a rock and roll singer, he was also a session player. So he brought his weight as a session player to the table, and he had these great songs like Summertime Blues and Come On Everybody. It was a totally different sound. And this guy, he was one of the first to really experiment with overdubbing. And actually on some of the records he did, he played all the instruments. And he was his own producer, he was writing his songs, and basically he was together with guys like Buddy Holly. They were, you know, some of the rock and roll figures that maybe are a little forgotten today, but that deserve far more credit. I think especially at a Cochrane, when you listen to those records, they still sound great. So, yeah, the Gretsch.
No, Lucille is B.B. King.
Is B.B. King, yeah, well.
But it's a similar guitar. Now, that's a lefty.
That's, yeah.
Yeah. And I think they were solid bodies that they were playing. I'm
Solid
not sure
body.
of that, maybe.
Yeah.
That's a hollow.
That's a hollow one, yeah. I think you're right about the solid body.
Yeah.
Solid body.
So what was Chuck's guitar's name? He had a name for it.
Did he have a name for it? No, I'm not
think
sure.
so.
I don't think he was the kind of guy to name his guitar.
Yeah,
And I think there's photos of Elvis playing a guitar much like this
Yeah.
one in Germany.
Yeah.
This is another Gretsch.
Yeah, that's a Gretsch.
And I think, you know, the period in Germany for Elvis was very influential, because I think he understood that rock and roll was basically not going to go anywhere. So he had 2 years where he could basically reinvent himself, and that's what he did. It's something that is overlooked today. But, you know, I think Elvis worked a lot together with Charlie Hodge, you know, to improve his vocal range, to improve his voice. And you can hear it on the recordings that came out after he got out of the army. You know, records like Are You Lonesome Tonight and It's Now or Never. I mean, it was totally different sounds.
Well, he reinvented himself 3 times.
Yes.
I sure did.
In fact, more times. You know, when you look at the Elvis that we had in the Sun period, is a different Elvis than the guy that we see at RCA in 1956. And then we see, you know, the 57 is also totally different. You know, it was more commercial sound, jailhouse rock, I Beg of You. And then you have King Creole, which is again totally different sound. Then you have the 60-62 period where he sang like an angel. I mean, that's where I feel that he was at the top of his game. You had the mid-60s, an overlooked period, but when you listen to records like It Hurts Me, they're wonderful records. And then you have, of course, 68, 70, and it's like he was constantly pushing himself to be better, because even in the 70s, he was so ambitious, you know. When you look at the show as late as 1972, he was adding songs like American Trilogy, and that's not something that you should do just like that. It's a very complicated song.
So who came up with that? Was it Joe Gershio or?
Well, there's different ideas about who came up with it. But it's,
Because it's
I
a
think,
mixture of 3 songs.
yes, it came from Mickey Newbury, and it's a combination of 3 songs, or some might say 4 songs, and it's a real showpiece. And when you listen to the version by Mickey Newbury, it's a bit low key, but Elvis, he really went to town on that song. I mean, the dramatics and the finale. I mean, if you were there in the audience when Elvis did it, you would have been blown away.
Yeah.
I mean, especially, you know, the high note at the end, and it was a really impressive showpiece,
Yeah.
and possibly the best thing he added to his show in the 70s.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
No question.
And it's great theatrics, and I might say a great vocal performance. Great vocal performance. When I look at Aloha, that's one of my favorite performances from Aloha. That's a landmark performance. But also later on, he kept going back to the song, and not a lot of people know it, but he did it as late as 1977. There's this one show I think it was in Macon, June 1st, and somebody requested American Trilogy. And like I said, it's not an easy song, but they did it. They did it just like that. There was one mistake near the end, but he still pulled it off. And he could still, you know, deliver. It's like in that video that you have with Bobby Ogden, you know. People always focus on the final years, and they will tell you how sad it was. And yeah, there's elements of it that are tragic. But make no mistake about it, if you would have been in the audience in 1977, you would have been entertained because he was still a great performer and he was still charismatic and he was still Elvis.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
Bobby had been around many, many famous people and played for him, and he was still mesmerized by the whole thing. So that tells you.
I don't doubt that there were concerts where Elvis was, coasting through it, especially on songs like Teddy Bear, Don't Be Cruel. But then he would do these big showpieces, like Hurts or How Great Thou Art. And, people have told me what it was like to be in the audience when he sang that, and he just basically almost blew you out of your seat with the power of his voice.
Amazing.
The depth of knowledge about music and the passion. We can go a little bit that direction. I don't know if we still have time, but I hope it doesn't come off as wrong. But sometimes it feels like musicians like Eddie Elvis are appreciated more here than they are, back home in the U.S.
Yeah, well, I agree with that. Well, you could have the same concert that we're doing here, nobody showing up.
Yeah.
I hate to say it.
In fact, these things happen constantly.
Yeah.
A guy I know, he arranged this concert in Memphis, and he had a lot of the original musicians there. The guy from the Memphis '69 band, and a lot of different musicians. And the thing is,
University.
yeah,
We're going up?
yeah.
Okay.
And the sad thing is, there were more people in the audience than on stage.
Yeah.
On the stage than in
In
the
the audience, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why it is the way it is. Maybe if somebody comes from your own country, you kind of take them for granted.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt about that.
Yeah. And plus, with Elvis, I think people have judged him harshly, for the bad movies, for some of the recordings that were not his best, and.
I like the movies. I like the songs from the movies.
Oh yeah.
I thought they were good, but he definitely gets
They weren't always
a bad rap.
They weren't always recorded well, but I think there's plenty of good songs from even that period.
I don't know what any of that means. It means something.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Somebody can look at it and go, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it is. Sometimes I would know. But Finnish is an interesting language because sometimes they will have the double A's and double E's and like there. Here I can see that it's antiques or old items.
Oh, it's old books.
Old books, yeah.
Huh. There you are. Okay. Thank you. Okay. That trash truck's going to back up the whole way.
Yeah. Let's go in that direction. I thought I thought this was going to lead to something that I kind of listened that I wanted to see. But it's not really.
This guy, it's interesting the difference in our vehicles. Because you would think a trash truck's a trash truck. But the wheels, the way these right here look, have a very European look to them.
Yeah.
That you don't see in the States. Those backwards, those look American. Those look European.
Yeah, right.
Is he driving on the correct side? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
The Volvo.
So they're getting ready to go down in that hole that we were looking at and get the trash. Yeah. Let me, I'm gonna do a time lapse. That's real.
I just read kind of looked like that one backyard in King Creole.
Yeah, it does. So in Finland, it looks like squirrels are a little different than they are in America.
Yeah, and they got tiny heads, big butts, and very big nuts.
Clearly they do.
Yeah, they're a bit different.
Is that a cow?
That's a cow. It's a complete cow. Look, this is the body. These are the feet. This is the tail. This is the head and the horns. It's a cow.
Wow. I don't think I've ever seen a shot with such a little door.
Yeah. It's actually a nasty little door because if you want to take it, you're
Yeah,
going to...
that right there will get you.
Don't go in there.
That's funny. So that was a school. I saw all the kids out.
Yeah, that's a school.
So this is like the backyard of that school. Now, is this a public? What are the schools like here? Do you know? Just public school, private school? Is there a public school?
You have both. You have both public school and private. But of course, for the private you pay. And for public schools, it's free basically.
Well, somebody's paid for it.
Somebody's paying for it. The people that pay taxes here, they pay for it.
Yeah. Are taxes high?
Oh yeah, they are.
Bad taxes.
Yeah. But sometimes we have these discussions. We discussed it, me and Rick, about Europe versus US. I'm not going to compare directly because I think both are great. But we talked about some people thinking Europe is like socialist. I don't see it that way at all. Like my angle is I'm paying about 40% taxes, but the thing is I don't have to pay for my doctor. I don't have to pay for my hospital, regardless. I'm not paying for my kids' schools. And so the way I'm looking at it, I'm getting a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Even if you look at it from a
But
business
is the medical up to par? That would be my question.
I haven't had a lot
Because
of...
there's all stories about not being able to go, you diagnosed with cancer and they go, well, we'll see you in 6 months. Well, you die before you get to go.
No, I haven't heard that. But having said that, I personally haven't had any experiences with it. I've been fortunate enough to, never have been ill so far, really.
Yeah.
But I believe the system works. But of course, they've cut back on expenses, and that affects the quality of the care.
Yeah.
But if I get a disease like cancer, I know that I will be treated. And the thing is, even if you feel that the quality of the care is not good enough, you can just go out and seek, private hospitals.
Yeah.
Because we have the private hospitals here too.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have the opportunity to
Yes,
do
we
both.
do. And some people use the private hospitals, but it's mainly for cosmetic reasons.
Cosmetic surgeries, you're
Cosmetic surgery, yeah, especially. You have to pay for that
water?
yourself.
Can you see water over here?
Let's go and look.
This one poor guy out here minding his own business. He's like, what are these people coming here for?
Look at that. It's like a big greenhouse type of thing.
Yeah. Some kind of a business. I thought we might be able to see water over here somewhere. Yeah, they grow stuff there. That's like a at the Biltmore house. It looks a little bit like the. Have you ever been there?
No, I haven't.
George Vanderbilt's house in Asheville, North Carolina.
No.
It's amazing.
Would like to. I would like to.
Next time you come, we need to go.
Yeah, I would love to.
It's very cool. Yeah, this is
I think I was in Memphis the first time in 1984. But back then it was a different deal. The way I see it, more natural. I've seen Graceland change through the years, and it's become more and more, impersonal. The way I see it, it's more and more a business.
It's a
corporate,
a museum, a corporate museum.
Yeah, it's
a money cranker. That's all it's for.
The first time I was there, I remember that I was going through the house together with my parents and my sister, and you could still smell somebody making breakfast. As it later turns out, it was Aunt Delta.
Yeah, she still lived there.
It still had the feel of
Mary still worked there.
Yeah.
She worked there till what, 93?
Yeah, I believe that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember going in there and them going, shh, Michelle's asleep in that room. It's like, what?
Yeah. But it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I had the same feel about 10 years ago when I visited Jerry Lee Lewis's home in Nesbitt, Mississippi.
Yeah.
And actually, he was home at the time. So it was his father-in-law that was doing the tours. And they said, well, you guys got to be quiet because Jerry's up there and he's sleeping. So we were quiet,
That's pretty cool.
Anything for Jerry Lee.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. He's one of my favorites.
He's a legend.
Well, I love...
And who would have ever thought he'd outlive the rest of them?
That's one of the great mysteries of life. Yeah.
No doubt.
He's a true American original, When you listen to his records, also a lot of his country records, Another Place, Another Time. It's great music.
That dog is walking that way.
Yeah, he's pushy. Whatever floats your boat.
So we're getting close to 7, aren't we?
Yeah, we're
and this hotel is 1907, so it's 111 years old.
Yes.
Wow.
And I chose this hotel because I have a history with this hotel and I feel comfortable with here. I enjoy it. I enjoy the rooms. I enjoy the old Europe feel of it. I've been here a lot with artists like Robert Gordon, and it's just this vibe. There's plus it's very close to the city center, as you've seen.
Yeah.
And I wanted you to see the city center. So
just walk
yeah,
right down.
Yeah, we can. Yeah. So tomorrow, when everybody has some downtime in the morning, some people will want to sleep, but others might want to say, "Well, I want to see the city center," and you can do that. You know.
So they have BMW taxi cabs, friends. It's pretty nice. Very cool.
And I'm looking forward to seeing what you will think of the breakfast, because it's a little bit different. Some of the food is a bit different.
Yeah,
but it's great food. Well, they've got this kind of I don't know if I can call it a pastry, but it's this kind of shape, and it's basically made of potato. And I tried a couple of times. Doesn't really do anything for me, but it's different. It's only in Finland. Only in Finland I've seen it so far. So it's for me it's nice to experience these small differences, what people eat and what they do, the culture.
And what about these crazy license plates?
Yeah, Finn.
And the crazy hitch ball.
Oh yeah,
Never seen anything like that. Everything's just a hair different.
Just a touch different.
But the same at the same time.
But
so the more that things change, the more they stay the same.
That's true. And there will always be small differences. But I think Finland is a great place to be and a great place to live for many. I think this is one of the countries in the world that is both the safest and where people feel most happiness to live. It's a very safe society and a very secure country, and like I said, they're very interested in music and culture. Elvis is much loved here. We can always generate newspaper articles, attention surrounding our shows, and we always get good audiences. Elvis has a very good fan base here. Still, they're very loyal.
Even to now.
Even to now. I think it's like what I said earlier, many people, his voice resonated with them, even though they maybe didn't have a clue of what he sang. It was just the tone of his voice, the sound of his singing, that moved people to the point where they became fans and collected all his records and started fan clubs. And I got to find that album cover for you. That'll be cool. Elvis in Finland.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So is Dwight here?
I think he
He
will
should have
be.
made it here by
Yeah.
now, right?
Well, let's go in and look. Maybe he's checked in,
D-White.
or maybe they're waiting for me. Like
I think it was Bobby Ogden that told me he called him D-White.
Oh yeah. D-White.
See that sign? Look over
Yeah.
your head. See, right there.
Oh yeah, the sign. Yeah, right. Let's see. Well, they're not here. So we'll do typically in Europe in the '60s, and I think this is
60s.
authentic. I think this is pretty much the same.
So that's
Also-
where we eat breakfast today.
Yeah, this is where we eat. Oh, they've locked it down now, but just a really nice, quiet place.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think I'm going to check up on my young one, and maybe
This for just a little bit too. So here we are in the crazy elevators with the doors.
yeah, those are kind of different. Established 1907. Probably looks pretty much the same. Oh, we can do that.
You think?
We do it.
What floor?
Sure. Yeah, 4. I
tight.
think all of us are on 4, right?
Yes, I think
good.
so.
Yeah, good. Well, let's see how she is doing. I thought she was trying to get some sleep or something. So. Yeah.
Thank you. Go.
Oh, yeah. No problem. I think it's right here, huh?
Yes.
Now,
I didn't know that was there.
this is a fairly new attribute. Okay.
All right, I'll see you in a bit. Yes, sir.
Player.
Hey, I'm Billy. Nice to meet you.
Nice to
I'm
meet
bass
you.
player. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you almost ready to the airport to pick you or?
Yes, sir.
Ah, okay.
For guys, hi, I'm Dwight. Jim, nice to
Great
meet
to
you.
see you.
Good to
Dwight.
meet you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I'm Billy.
good to meet you, Billy.
And Bobby Ogden told me to tell you, tell D White hello.
Bobby
He said
Ogden.
he called you D White.
D White, yeah.
I got a lot of reaction when I told my choir and the people that I work with. I said, "Yeah, I'm going over to sing with Dwight Eisenhower." And they all went,
Always, yeah.
So then I spelt it for them so they would know. Now, where do you live, Dwight?
Orlando. Yeah. So I flew straight from Orlando to Amsterdam, and then so it wasn't too bad.
Very cool.
Yeah. I heard you had a little tie-up.
Wrong name on my tickets. So yeah.
They're so picky about this. Yeah, good, good.
And it's not like he was trying to change it to Bob Jones. It was Jim or Jimmy.
Right, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd think something that minimal would,
Yeah.
you know.
The lady at the Nashville, she's the one that made it happen. And she got on the phone and made some calls, and she said, "You won't have any trouble. We've called ahead." So Priceline booked it, and so that was where the snafu was. Really, Arjun's, it's just an honest mistake.
Yeah.
It's like he would call you Bill instead
Yeah.
of Billy, and
Yeah.
put Bill on your tickets. Yeah.
Yeah.
Many times as I've come overseas, I've never had that.
Good to see you. Good to
see
Looking
you.
forward to it.
Yeah. So,
Right.
ready for some dinner?
Let's do it.
Let's eat. Yeah.
Actually, any food sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff, I was wondering, because I'm also writing for the Phoenix Aerospace.
Okay.
Okay, guys, let's go on.
Ya vete y ya arreglaremos con las herramientas, tío, porque es que otra cosa no.
Literally and figuratively.
Look, guys, this is something that Billy pointed out. Look at these doors.
This is a shop. That's a clothing shop.
Too bad Eddie's not here. He can walk right in.
Eddie could walk right in.
This is
walk right in.
this is a midget clothing shop.
Yeah.
You know.
Is that what that says?
Yeah. No, I don't know.
But also look at the door now. The door
It's got horns on it.
horns.
Wow. That might have been a speaker.
We saw people
Yeah.
coming in and out of it.
Really?
It's a ladies'
Walking
clothing
out
shop.
of here?
Yeah,
Really?
we saw ladies coming in and out buying
La
stuff.
dirección es la que te he pasado, ¿verdad? Que no sé.
Help bend over. That's how they're going in and out.
Is that like the YMCA?
Yeah, that's the YMCA.
Is that really what that is? The YMCA?
You know, what I've noticed about Finland is they haven't quite figured out how to spell it. You know, they're like, that should be YMCA. The M they got right, but the other things.
Yeah, they just
That's
jumble it
not
around.
really the YMCA.
Just jumble it around.
Throw letters up
Oh
there.
yeah, it's just like
Yeah, all languages.
They could tell me anything.
Yeah, I mean, I clearly can't read it. So, is he playing? It's not the YMCA.
Oh, it's the YMCA.
But that's when they lived at the YMCA, when you would stay there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Because the YMCA in America is a gym now.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
I was looking out, and this hotel looking out looks exactly like that hotel we stayed at.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? It looks exactly like. I got deja vu. It looked exactly like that. Yeah. Well, this whole area.
So
You want to speak Finnish on the stage?
we're going to eat Thai in Finland.
Are you still like with Jan?
That's one of those things that you do, right? Yeah. Yes, sir. Oh wow, airsoft. That's funny.
Looks like American.
Yes, it does. It really does.
Seems to work for her, you know. She has this kind of smirky look. Like, I know something you don't know. I got you guys.
I'm getting your money.
I'm getting your money.
First Asian girl you've ever seen.
She's got that smirk. Widows in spirits and in candle.
How many candles? All right.
Are we gonna be on video?
24.
Sí, tú solo tendrías que llevar un par de routers,
Yeah, I'm on film.
Pues entonces eso. O sea,
But do you have enough space? Or how
I have
does it
enough
work?
for 60
tornillo,
hours.
tal.
Yeah.
Bueno,
But
no
is it
tipos
like
cafetecos porque
tape or
no,
dark?
No, SD. Yeah, digital.
para que no vayas tan cargado, le digo.
Think again. It's going to be hard work. You know, 25 shows in a month. It's going to be hard. This is one of the hardest tours that I've undertaken, and what I'm thinking is that you know, I see this as a team effort. You know, we can only make this work if we all work together. And I feel that we have a joint responsibility to make this work. We're all in this together. What I usually say, I told you last year, I see this as a football team. And I would try to see us all as football players, and we're all in this together. And we're only as good as our weakest link. So I think it's also a joint responsibility to take care of one another. If you see that somebody's not doing well, if you see that somebody's lagging behind, you know, help that person, help them carry their luggage, or, you know, I think, you know, we can only make this work if we're in this together, if we work together. I think that's very important. Another thing to remember is that we are a lot of different personalities. No, that too, but a lot of different nationalities. We have these wonderful singers from Spain. We have a beautiful, beautiful too, but a wonderful
We have the hillbillies
piano
from the
player
south.
from France. We have people from the US. Jari is Finnish, I am Dutch, Sheila is Danish. So that's 6 different personalities. So are there going to be misunderstandings? Misunderstandings? Believe me, there's going to be. There's going to be misunderstandings. But I think it's important that when you misunderstand something, choose to believe in the good. Choose to believe that when you hear something wrong, something that you like, oh, it's probably a misunderstanding, or just ask. I think that's important, you know, to work together. Another thing that I think is important is, if there is a problem, come to me and I will deal with it to the best of my abilities. Come to me. You know, I think it's also important, you know, to not have any, you know, complaining or backbiting or, you know, bad-mouthing others. We need to work on this together, and the only way we can make this work is by being positive and by executing positivity, you know. And if you have a problem, come to me and I will deal with it, or we will just discuss it. I think that's a problem, but that's important. Also, if somebody on the tour has a personal problem, you're welcome to come to me, because I know that sometimes personal problems can become a problem on the tour. I've had one tour when there was one guy and his girlfriend broke up in the middle of the tour, and she just sent him a text message or something, and that was it. And I had this guy who was basically broken down, tough glass. And it's important that, you know, you don't have to come to me. It's no obligation, but if you have a problem, come to me and we will talk about it, you know. I've also talked about, you know, taking responsibility. I am just a one-person company, so I cannot see anything, and I cannot be omnipresent. I cannot oversee everything. So what I want to ask you to do is, if you see a hole in the operation, you know, try to fix it. You know, like I said, we're in this together, and I cannot see everything. So if you see a problem or something that's missing, a wrong amp or this and that, you know, talk about it with sound people and solve it. I think that's really important. And also on the tour, I think it's important that we all try to be assertive, seeking out information. If you miss some information, if you're looking for information, you know, try to find the information. Usually it's pretty easy. And in the same line of thinking, I was thinking it's important to be active in looking for solutions. You know, if you see a problem and it needs to be fixed, try to find a solution. I will gladly help, of course, and I've also talked about the team player thing because I know that this is the only way to make this work. Like I said, we're all in this together, and we can only make this work as a group. And another thing I think is important to remember is we're going to meet a lot of different people, a lot of wonderful people, a lot of nice people, but also some that, because they are so passionate about Elvis, can be sometimes be a little too much. I'll just put it that way. In dealing with these people, remember that you are representing the show. That's one thing. But another thing is, and I think that's another big responsibility, we're all representing Elvis. So in all our behavior to the outer world, show the best of who you are. Show the best of your personality, and be patient with people. And I feel pretty safe in saying that it's what EP would have wanted you to do. So show patience and courtesy because you're an ambassador for Elvis, and that's important. And there's also another thing. This is now one of the biggest Elvis shows around. This tour, everybody is watching it. Believe me. I've even heard, EPE and so on, because they're figuring out like, what's happening over there? Who is this guy, and why are they doing so many shows? So that's also important to remember. Everybody is watching us. We are now the leading Elvis show, and that also gives us an extra responsibility. When we go on the show, show them the best of what we got. Show them the best. And like I said, this is a tribute to Elvis, and I want the audience to give them the best of ourselves, so a little bit extra. I think that's important. In dealing with people, what I said, being a leader, it gives a lot of admiration, but it will also give some jealousy. In anticipation of this tour, I've already had some other Elvis shows that have tried to steal bookings away from me. We've talked about it, people will always try to get in on the act, or they will try to create division. They will try to say, hey, this singer, or hey, this bass player, or hey, maybe I can do it better, or they will try to create friction between us. Don't let them. Don't let them. And it goes back to that team player thing. We are a group, we are in this together, and let's stick together, because this is what we know and this is what we have. And I know from experience that a lot of people are looking at us thinking, well, I want a part of this action. So don't let them come between us. That's an important thing to remember. I would like to believe that the world is a perfect place, but the reality is it's not. So we have to watch out for the douchebags and people like that. So, and it goes back to what I said earlier. This is a great team of people, great singers, great players, great backing vocalist, great bass player, and a wonderful lead singer. Dwight, you're an inspiration to me. With the way you handle yourself on the tour, I've said it to you in person as well. The way you carry yourself around, the way your kindness to other people, the way you take care of those that are, having difficulties on the tour. You're a caring guy, you're a kind guy, you're a team player, and I think you're an inspiration for all of us. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And for now, let's have a drink. Yeah. So,
Thank you, Arjun.
yeah, well, my pleasure. Let's just go to the hotel. I'll take that.
Yes.
Appreciate it, Arjun. We'll see you guys in
Yeah, see you later.
Yes, sir.
No, I spent just 2 days and with my girlfriend.
I'll see you. Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
I tried to visit well, but it was closed. I don't know why.
Yes? It was closed?
Yeah.
I think everyone has to pay for
No.
going inside.
No.
It was good.
Yeah, there were big guys with gun and then trying to.
Oh, yeah.
Something happened.
I'll just take, I'll just take what I need.
I have my car a little bit far away. Once in a while, I never try to follow the whole road, then I just back everything there.
On each face, and I know that it's the presence of the Lord. Sweet Holy Spirit, sweet heavenly dove, stay right here with us, filling us with your love. And for these last, it goes down a third right there, yeah. We lift our hearts in praise. Without a doubt, we'll know that we have been revived when we. Oh, sorry. See, I'm no good at that.
Well, that's all right. No, that's good.
When we shall leave this place. Sorry.
Yeah. Let's make it close to the right.
We'll check it out.
Beautiful.
Right in the middle of Helsinki.
Yeah. There you go.
Where Elvis recorded 2 albums. Elvis in Finland Volume 1 and Elvis in Finland Volume 2.
All right.
Hey, that's a pretty neat
hotel,
place
right?
here.
Yeah.
Well, it's right on the border with Russia. Yeah. So we can go beat up.
Yeah, no, that's the one.
Yeah, what's his Miguel? Miguel. So no Gordon Stewart.
There you go. We have the order.
Oh, that's, yeah, exactly.
Feeling good, Bob?
Oh yeah. We can riff into that.
It's like a gang showing up at the hotel.
But we would need an Indian costume, break work, police outfit.
Very old.